Let us execute an immediate sweeping analytical vector shift away from the shimmering marble architecture of the sun courts, faded fantasy trial matrices, and lethal royal captor configurations, and cruise directly into the sun-drenched, calculation-heavy tracking grids of beachside contemporary romance, weaponized wedding planning infrastructure, and the deeply protective world of small island hospitality networks. We are crossing the threshold directly into the hyper-monitored luxury resort properties of the Florida Gulf Coast, exclusive oceanfront event nodes, and the lethal analytical parameters of a highly intense, high-stakes coastal nuptial layout with a Captiva wedding, the exceptional pulse-pounding second structural deployment anchoring the globally dominant chart-topping Captiva Island series by the absolute undisputed sovereign of seaside relationship friction, protective local community dynamics, and high-velocity emotional tension, Annie Cabot. This high-stakes narrative tracking sequence delivers an exceptional look at an operational crossroad where a fierce, underestimated event coordinator asset running a strict personal survival loop, a powerful, dangerously territorial island newcomer, and an absolute defense of a partner's personal sovereignty metrics collide at terminal velocity. Let us map the strategic narrative grid. If you are an elite enthusiast of high-octane, slow-burn contemporary thrillers, where a targeted, hyper-observant female protagonist must navigate an absolute maze of underground small-town politics, forced luxury resort proximity schedules, and a deadly ring of active institutional or emotional gaslighting while running a blind survival loop inside a completely compromised coastal hospitality ecosystem, where an analytical mind uses deep demographic profiling, calculated emotional boundaries, and absolute mental stamina to outmaneuver an invisible predatory social landscape, and where the author utilizes an incandescent small-town beach enemies to lovers forced proximity diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural limits, this book is engineered to lock you in. Cabot completely dominates the island savior meets Defiant local dynamic, capturing the heart-racing intellectual momentum, suffocating institutional paranoia, and heavy deductive depth popularized by genre vargs like Ellen Hildebrand, Mary Kay Andrews, Robin Carr, and Susan Mallory, while treating realistic multinational resort logistics, complex personal alignment arcs, and protective high-society event tradecraft grids with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on the highly volatile, calculation-heavy baseline of our central island couple, operating under a severe, calculation-heavy handicap of massive tourism scrutiny, deep-seated local family rivalries, and a hyper-visible targeting profile by the community's ruling administrative capos. Behind their rigorous global flight footprints and tense coastal ledger logs lies an intricate matrix of hidden financial allegiances, deeply buried personal secrets, and sharp, high-stakes tactical maneuvers. Our central female protagonist's collective defense mechanisms are locked down tight behind a lifetime of outrunning exploitation, her entire analytical focus strictly consumed by monitoring sudden threat vectors from rival event planners, parsing complex behavioral shifts from her powerful cold-eyed island partner, and shielding her vulnerable personal autonomy nodes from being entirely wiped out by a ruthless corporate or municipal cleanup offensive. The spark ignites when an unexpected high-frequency structural anomaly breaches her active scanning perimeter. Due to a massive logistical event crisis and a complex web of family expectations, she is forced into a strict, high-stakes coordination alliance with her formidable, cold-blooded island adversary. To survive a lethal, imminent social disaster or professional hit order, they are forced to share an exclusive, isolated island space, only for a series of suspicious administrative sabotage attempts, targeted catering setups, and calculation-heavy coastal storm ambushes to threaten to permanently eliminate them from the local hospitality roster. The official diagnostic metrics of the island tracking centers flash white-hot when their joint public operations and defensive movements reveal that their alignment is radically, impossibly altering the resort town's historical balance of power. The standard boundaries of routine high society compliance and peaceful relationship protocols crumble, and our central protagonists run completely out of standard diplomatic escape vectors. They are thrust directly into an active, invisible war across the island, where deceptive old money dynasties, highly manipulative tourist entities, and a calculation-heavy underground network launch aggressive countermeasures to permanently suppress their survival data stream. The tactical parameters instantly explode as their historical and survival warfare turns completely active, transforming the exclusive high-society beachfront dinners, dark dockside pathways, and private fortified resort compounds into a volatile psychological pressure cooker and a physical battle zone. Our protective island protagonist is forced to deploy his massive intuitive tradecraft, environmental mapping skills, and raw emotional stamina to repair his perimeter and earn her true trust before the next municipal territorial realignment permanently deletes his progress. When deceptive romantic red herrings, corrupted event ledgers, and calculation-heavy tropical ambushes launch aggressive plays to delete her path, her survival instincts engage her final deployment tracks. Every midnight digital excavation, every silent choice to stand off against an arrogant family elder behind standard security barriers, and every intense moment of channeling raw, unyielding survival mechanics chips away at her reliance on original peaceful rules. What follows is an exceptional high-stakes war of perspective, tactical position, and raw human grit. We watch the coastal elite's deceptive perimeters completely unwrapped, as Cabot reveals that the true victory requires more than just surviving an initial setup or managing a forced relationship. It demands an absolute, uncompromising defense of individual dignity, personal truth, and systemic survival against a cold, calculating machine of institutional hierarchy and small-town supremacy. While our central characters smooth over each other's psychological and defensive blind spots with devastating analytical force, creating a fiercely protective web of absolute loyalty around their union, a brutal series of close-quarters tactical confrontations and high-stakes evidentiary breakthroughs shifts the clock into its terminal phase, proving that historical emotional hazards have tracked them to their final outpost. To survive the impending locked grid trap and permanently secure her sanctuary, our resilient heroine must unleash an absolute, unyielding defense of her final boundary lines. It is a dark contemporary romance / beachside executive suspense / coastal dynasty family drama / high-velocity contemporary island noir masterpiece that treats deep relational logistics and intense structural friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency, one whispered confession triggers a fatal beachfront showdown energy, where a sudden pause during an active franchise tactical briefing, an unexpected shift in an adversary's protective physical posture during a high-stakes rehearsal confrontation, or a heavy, possessive realization that an elite island protector has completely mapped your personal coordinates carries massive structural weight. Cabot writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, capturing the heavy, oppressive atmosphere of a private resort vault before a major corporate takeover, and the distinct, subtle scent of polished mahogany, expensive suntan oil, salty ocean breeze, crisp linen, crushed cement, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates the second installment into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance complex, high-stakes community dynamics and genuine romantic power tradecraft, alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonists don't rely on unbelievable, superficial Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound survival instincts match the complexity of the chaotic modern corporate and high society underworld they dominate step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense conversational standoffs and breathtaking tactical breakthroughs before ratcheting up to an absolute jaw-dropping conclusion that delivers total, hard-earned advancement to their horizon. A Captiva Wedding is the definitive pro-level upgrade your high-stakes contemporary beach romance and contemporary coastal suspense library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unput-outable. It proves that when your entire sanctuary is targeted by a cold, calculating institutional monster, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to lock your perimeters, trust your elite survival training, and fight like hell alongside your network to rewrite the data. So secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to track the coast.